of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire and darkest nights. You are close like no other. I know you as a father. I know you as a father. I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. Oh yes you have. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after.
All right, good night, everybody.
Running after me. Help me sing.
Good
Your
night.
goodness is running after. It's running after me. Your goodness is running after. It's running after. It's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything, everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. And all my life you have been faithful. All of my life you have been so, so good, yeah. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I'm gonna sing. All my life you have been faithful. And all of my life you have been so, so good, yeah. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
We have been called to follow Christ. We are to preach, we are to teach, we are to fight. So where you lead me, I will go. Touch my lips, by your strength I will go. I will go where you lead me, I will go. Where you lead me, who will go? For us I will go. I will go where you lead me, I will go. Where you lead me, here am I. Send me eyes have seen the King. I must tell all the world, worship him. In all the nations, in all the world, where he sends me, yes, I will go. I will go where you lead me, I will go. Where you lead me, who will go for us? I will go. I will go where you lead me, I will go. Where you lead me, here am I. Send me, Lord, I will go. I will go. I will go. Who will go for us? I will go. I will go. I will go. Here am I. Send me, Lord, I will go. I will go. I will go. I will
Good evening. I am Jennifer Carrington,
And I'm Peter Carrington.
and we are so excited and delighted to welcome you to this marriage enrichment seminar sponsored by Zones 1 and 3 with Pastors Brome, Graves, Lindo, Prescott, Dial, Blackman, and Sobers at the helm. These districts comprise the churches in St. Lucie, St. Peter, St. James, the Black Rock Church, and the Ebenezer Seventh-day Adventist Church. We hope that you are ready to get a great learning experience as we put the emphasis on the family, specifically married couples. As we all know, families are under pressure, not only in the country, but worldwide. And this pressure is felt in all aspects of life, of family life, which challenges us. To face these pressures, we need to have a Christian lifestyle. This evening, we will hear from two Christian couples with over 34 years of marriage. We will also hear presentations from seasoned, if I might use that word, family life practitioners with marriage counseling experience to share practical examples and challenging encounters with married couples. This evening, we are hoping that the knowledge and experience shared will help us to push that reset button as God provides the way for us to strengthen and enhance our lives as married couples, our families, including our church family, our country, and our world at large. May God bless us as we receive his divine wisdom and his guiding light in our lives day by day.
We now invite Elder Richard Howell to pray for us.
Let's all bow our heads for prayer. Eternal, most loving Father, we thank you for the opportunity of being present yet another night to be a part of a seminar, a marriage seminar where we can get counsel and food for nurture. I ask, O Lord, for the outcome of this seminar that we will be inspired, our hearts will be nurtured, sin will be put in its place, and individual marriage gardens will be watered. Allow us, dear Lord, to have those weeds that are preventing our gardens to mature properly to be rooted out. And I ask, O Lord, individually that you take out the spots and the blemishes out of us, preparing us as your bride, that we will all be partakers of heaven one day when you shall come. It's my humble prayer in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Music is the way to give glory to God and to enrich our lives. Let us listen to Sister Tamara Norville of the Chancellor of Seventh-day Adventist Church as she sings for us.
I stand accused. There's a list a mile long of all my sins, of everything that I've done wrong. I'm so ashamed. There's nowhere left for me to hide. This is the day I must answer for my life. My fate is in the judge's hands. But then he turned to me and said, I know you and I love you. I gave my life just to save you. And love paid the price for mercy. My verdict, not guilty. How can it be? I can't begin to comprehend what kind of grace would take the place for my sins. I stand in awe, know that I have been set free. As the tears well up and I look at that cross, 'cause it should have been me. My fate was in the nail-scarred hands. He stretched them out to me and said, I know you and I love you. I gave my life just to save you. And love paid the price for mercy. My verdict, not guilty. I'm falling on my knees to thank you. With everything I am, I praise you. So grateful for the words I heard you say. I know you. I love you. I gave my life. I know you. I know you. I gave my life just to save you. And love paid the price for mercy. My verdict, not guilty. Love paid the price for mercy. My verdict, it was not guilty. Not guilty.
Okay, Peter, tonight we are going to be interviewing two couples, but you're going to be interviewing the first couple. Could you tell us a bit about that couple?
Alison and Dorian C. I've known them for quite some time. Allison is an attorney and the Deputy Director of Public Prosecution. His wife Dorian is also an attorney at law. He's been married for 34 years and will celebrate 35 this year, July. This year, June. He's also the member. They're also members of the Ebenezer Seventh-day Adventist Church. They have 2 grown children and 2 grandchildren. I now invite Brother Allison and Sister Dorian to join me.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Hi, good evening, all. Good evening, Peter. I don't feel the show.
It's
That
true.
is so true. I'm reading about you every day, though. How are you tonight?
I'm not doing too bad, as you can see. I'm still at work actually, but nonetheless.
Okay. Any other background information you want to share with us?
No, you said it all.
It's true. To
Okay.
say more will take me too long.
Okay. Well, how did you meet your lovely wife?
Oh, well, I didn't know. That time I was a member of the Royal Gardens, the force of the was then, you know, the service. Where we all members of one town, and right, we also a member of the Father of the 60, enlisted the sports community. But at that time I was young and very we played sports club maybe in athletics. Yeah, I can feel enough balls. And we represented the Roma sports club in the street. Yeah, I first year of age in my life.
Working up.
Okay. Sounds interesting. What influenced your decision to marry her?
The fact that definitely felt like
Alison, excuse me, you're breaking up a bit. We can't really hear you that well.
Oh, boy.
that I'm moving and it happens that same.
Yeah, he's
The
gone.
problem with me is that I'm losing bandwidth. I was in a few meetings today and I realized that when my camera is on, I am losing, people are not hearing me as well. Are you hearing me better now the camera is off?
Yes, we are.
please.
Well, then unfortunately, then you will only be able to hear my voice as opposed to seeing me.
Okay.
So I'll turn off the camera so I can get some more bandwidth.
Thank you.
Right, good.
We're
Yes,
saying
as
your
I
beautiful wife, so that's no problem.
okay.
Oh, dear.
At this stage, one represents the other.
That's correct.
Yes, so as I was saying, apart from her natural beauty that attracted me to her, the decision to get married was obviously something that I had studied over time. The truth be told is I come from a family, a marrying family. My mom and my dad were married well over 60 years. At that time, then they would have been married 30-something years. Dorian's parents, they were also married. So the truth is that that was the right and proper thing to do, having found a person who you believe that you're compatible. And since we believe in the interim, because obviously at that time it would have been a shorter relationship, but in that short stint, so to speak, we found out that we were compatible. We had like minds, like ideas for the future. So I think the next thing was to take it to the next step, which would be to make the commitment of marriage.
Okay. I see Dorian smiling. I guess he has a comment for us.
I guess it was, as you say, you're trying to live a life that you believe will be pleasing to God. not live with and not sealing it with the ring, if you get me. Because in the end, as he's always said, he has a saying, but I can't remember what it is now. Anyway, so that was the best thing, the best move, because you look into the future, you're looking to build a family, and you need to set an example also for your kids. So you don't want to go and say you have all these children and you're not married. So to me, that was something that we look forward to. And it was not a long courtship either. So you can understand the urgency of sealing it.
The goodness
Yes.
of meeting each other and connecting.
Yes.
Well, have you had any challenges in building that relationship?
There are always challenges. There's no perfect marriage. If you look back to the Bible, you see Adam and Eve, they had errors. So we always make errors because we're human. But you have to learn to compromise. Some things you just let slide and not try to argue about every little thing to think that you are the person that has the most voice to say. But we usually discuss, and I'm not saying that we will always be on the same page, because as you say, we are human. As I say, we are human, and there's some things that we would disagree on, but we will not let it go to the point where it separates us.
What fun activities do you have together? Keep you going.
We usually like to watch he introduced me to these old westerns, so we will usually watch those on Saturday Sabbath nights, and they're good movies, no kind of language that is but no cursing, it's just fun. Most of them are just comedies, but he introduced me to them. So I kind of look forward to Saturday nights where we would just be staying down after we come home from church and stuff and just relax and watch these old movies. That's be fun for me. So if he's not home, usually I would just not watch them because I don't have my partner to help kill the time and to laugh off at something that you see that's funny on the screen. So that's it for me.
My last question for you is, what advice would you want to give couples who are having challenges? And I want both of you to answer that.
Usually, to me, as I say, you will get challenges, but you have to be in it to win it. Not in it, and as you get challenged, I done with you or I want to get a divorce. You have to be in it for the long term. And to do that, you must have God as the center. You must have that relationship that you can just, go to your knees anytime you, or not even always do that. You could be driving, walking, whatever activity, and you may have found that you had some little issues, say with your partner in the morning or whatever, and you would just decide, look, God, just take this over. That's how I do it. And I always pray that I will be an extraordinary wife and an incredible mother. So that is how I try to live my life. And I know that I have 2 grandkids, a super fabulous grandmother.
Amen.
That is how I live my life.
Very good.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
For my contribution, challenges come in life, in every facet of life. So it's about staying the course. Life is such that you just can't give up on it. And it's the same thing with relationships. It's like you go on a job, the things are not as easy, but you stick with the job because it brings some degree of gratification. It brings a salary. It brings the ability to do certain things. It's like a family. So when you are in a family, in a relationship, and you're confronted by challenge, you have to think about staying, as she says, staying the course. Why? Because one, you have to talk to people who will give you good advice. If you talk to people who have broken marriages, it's unlikely that you will get the advice that you need from those type of persons. My old mother always tells me that a broken merchant don't care who else broke. So he's highly unlikely to give you good financial advice because he's broke. So a person who, you know, don't have that wherewithal that can give you good information, good counseling, those persons are not the persons that you should seek advice from. So you should always have like somebody who's like-minded. And in any event, people must understand that when you are confronted with a challenge and you decide, well, this is the end, the question is, where are you going and what are you going to do? So just as simple as it is with giving up a job and going to another job, you're going to still meet challenges. You're going to meet bosses who are difficult. You're going to meet colleagues who are difficult to work with. Do you really think that when you call that relationship quits, you will get one that's automatically better without challenges? So you have to really look at it that way and realize that, you know, wherever you go, you will have challenges. So it is better to work with what you have. I live a lot by my mom's mantras. That's the truth. And she always tells me things that, you know, causes me to think. And I think that's important because Bajans always say, you know who you got, but you know who you're gonna get. And these are the things, you know your partner, you know the partner's idiosyncrasies, you know what they do, their likes and dislikes. So if you meet a new partner, you have to learn all those things over again with that individual. And what appears to be the luring factor, and that's one of the things. Again, Bajan, I like to use my Bajan vernacular. Come see man can live on two different things. So you may see somebody who's encouraging you out. They might appear to be all the things you would want your wife to be. And that's also an outward appearance. Get them and leave and see what will happen when you now they become your responsibility and you become theirs. You know, you may see a totally different person. So it's important to appreciate what God has given to you and make it work for you regardless of your challenges. But over time, for sure, you morph into that one individual that people talk about. You know, sometimes people say, yeah, you get to look the same and stuff, but when you live around persons long enough, you get to become them, they become you, because they understand how you think. And I think for me, one of my main things to work with is that my wife tolerates me. That's the most important thing. If she could tolerate me, we're gonna stay married forever. Because, you know, I realize that sometimes I'm not the easiest person to live with, but once she can tolerate me, I'm happy.
Thank you, Alison and Dorian.
You're most welcome.
Continue to have fun.
We will.
We are having it, notwithstanding that she's overseas looking after the grandchildren, and I'm here again.
Okay.
That happens, and that is a compromise within itself. That, you know, we can appreciate that. I know that my daughter is in greater need of her assistance than me right now. So, you know, I stay here with my son and rough it for the time being, while my wife, who would normally pamper me, is looking after the grandchildren.
It's true, 100%.
It's a compromise, but we understand each other. So the things of that nature wouldn't cause us to disagree, because we understand the common purpose that we are here for.
Well, thank you.
And as they say, absence make the heart grow fonder.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
Oh, yeah.
Amen. Well, thanks. Enjoy your life.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank
have
you
fun.
so much. And it was
God
great
bless.
seeing you again, Peter.
Oh yes,
Thank you.
it's true.
Still,
Okay.
Still keeping as good as ever.
We
Thank
trying
you.
hard.
Thank you again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Pastor DeVere Lindo has been a pastor for over 20 years. He is trained in guidance counseling, marital and premarital counseling, advanced mediation, and family life. He is also an experienced practitioner of the MBTI personality assessment. For almost 2 decades, he has used his expertise to provide Bible-based personal counseling and family life and relationship seminars and presentations. The pastor is married to the lovely Juliet Lindo and is currently serving as the pastor for the St. Peter district, comprising the churches of Indian Ground, Indian Ground, Black Bess, Spikestown, and a mile and a quarter Seventh-day Adventist churches. Pastor Lindo, we welcome you and you can proceed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Tonight, I want to share a video with you, and then I want to share some points coming out from what you'll see in the video. The video is just 5.5 minutes long or so. So I'll ask the host to please show that video now.
I grew up in the former Soviet Union. My parents and I lived in a communal apartment with 9 other families. When my parents wanted to be romantic, they would send me to look out the window. One day my dad said, "So what do you see in the window?" I said, "Our neighbors being romantic." He said, "How can you tell?" I said, "Because their son is looking at me." My parents laughed. At that moment, I felt that I was in the presence of love. As a child, I made the discovery that laughter must be the way people communicate to one another that they're happy. Did you know that there have been actual research into relationship between laughter and happy marriages? For over 4 decades, Dr. John Gottman, professor of psychology at the University of Washington, has studied thousands of couples in both successful relationship and not so successful ones. Couples who laugh together, he concluded, last together. Here is how it works. We make each other happy first, then laughter reassures us that we're on the right track. The fading away of laughter may be the best way to tell if your relationship has gone off course. So here is what I want you to start doing. Listen for laughter in your relationship. And not just any laughter. Listen for moments when you share laughter together. If that isn't happening just about every day, it's time to do something about it. Let me give you an example from my own life. One night, I was putting my son Alexander to bed. He was cranky and crying. My wife said to me, "I'll show you how to put the baby to sleep." She took Alexander from me, put him in the bassinet, and put the bassinet on top of the dryer. 2 minutes later, he was sound asleep. I said, "Oh, great. All other kids are going to go to daycare center. I have to drop him off at the laundromat." "Oh, that bundle? Yeah, that one is mine." My wife did not laugh. As a comedian, I should have caught that. In my show, if the joke doesn't get a laugh, I analyze what went wrong, perhaps change the setup or a punchline to get the laughter back. I use laughter as a gauge of the happiness of my audience. At that time, I did not understand that it could be applied to my personal life as well. If I had understood that laughter was a gauge of happiness, I might have saved my marriage. As I started to research the science of happiness, I learned when there is a genuine connection between people, laughter is the first thing that happens as a confirmation of a happy relationship. The intimacy comes next, and then people get married and live together. When things are not working, laughter is the first thing to go. Second thing to go is intimacy. Third thing is your house. Of course, marriages and relationships break up for all sorts of reasons, but I can say with confidence, if you're not laughing, there's trouble ahead. So how do you get the laughter back if you've lost it? Every relationship is different, of course, but there's one constant. To laugh together, you need to be together, and that literally means time together. You need to start by making a decision that time together is important and it's not negotiable. Set a date night, take a dance lesson, a cooking class. It doesn't matter what you do, you just have to do it. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, American couples sleep on the average 7.2 hours a day, work 8.5 hours a day, and watch television 2.4 hours a day. Then they want to know how much time are we intimate with one another. So they combine hugging, kissing, cuddling, and lovemaking. It was 1 minute a day. So if you're doing it for 20 minutes, you're using somebody else's minutes. And they don't roll over. I believe that if you understand the connection between happiness and laughter, you'll be way ahead of those statistics. You will have better or even best chance to have a long-lasting, happy relationship. Just like the gas gauge in your car lets you know how much gas you have in your tank, laughter can let you know how much happiness you have in your relationship. The goal is to live happily ever after and maybe make love more than 1 minute a day. I'm Yakov Smirnov for Prager University.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. I found it was funny, but it also had some very important lessons for married couples. It was entitled Love Needs Laughter. And I think that this is a biblical concept. Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 13 tells us that a merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. So when there's laughter in marriage, then the marriage is positive. But when there's no laughter, then it's a sign, as he said, that things are heading in the wrong direction. Laughter, therefore, is a sign of happiness in marriage. And as he said, when laughter goes, the next thing that goes is intimacy. So the question is asked then, how do we keep laughter in the relationship? He mentioned one thing, but I want to mention two things or add one thing to what he said. The one that he mentioned was spending time together. And he talked about date nights. And he said, it doesn't really matter what you do as long as you do it together and you enjoy it together. And I agree with that. And again, the Bible supports this view. Genesis chapter 26, verse 8, the Bible says that Isaac and Rebekah were sporting together. Isaac was sporting with his wife. So they were out, the Philistines, Abimelech looked out his window and he saw Isaac sporting with his wife. They were out on a date. They were frolicking. They were having fun, enjoying one another's company. So it's important to have fun together as a married couple and not to let the cares of life just bog down your entire life, and your life is just about work, chores, sleep, and travel back and forth, but that you actually make time to have fun together, doing something together that both of you enjoy. But the other thing that I want to mention that he did not mention was that we have to significantly reduce the level of criticism that exists in our relationships. There's nothing to me that kills happiness and kills laughter in relationships like the spirit of criticism. And I want to suggest that a critical spouse is downplaying two important things. The first thing that a critical spouse is downplaying is the positive qualities in their partner. And it's so easy to focus on the negative and and ignore the positive. Human beings, we like to focus on the negative because that's how we improve, by focusing on the negative. But it's not healthy in a relationship to focus on the negative and downplay the positive qualities in our partners. The second important thing that a critical spouse is downplaying is they are downplaying the negative qualities in themselves. And that's what Jesus was talking about when he says, don't try to take the speck out of the other person's eye when there's a plank in yours. Oftentimes, the things that we're critical of, we are guilty of the same things, or maybe things just as bad. But in order to maintain a critical spirit, we have to downplay the positive qualities in our partner and downplay the negative qualities in ourselves. And I'm suggesting that we do not do either of these two things. As a matter of fact, again, I think the Bible supports the view of having a positive outlook. Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8 says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. And therefore, as couples, to maintain that laughter and thereby to maintain the intimacy and the strength in the relationship, we need to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. Well, some people may ask, if I'm not supposed to criticize, how am I to get what I want? Well, the answer is simple. Ask for what you want. So as a wife, if you want more help with the housework, don't criticize. Don't say you're a lazy man and you think you have a maid in here and you don't do nothing about the house. Don't do that. Just say, I would like some help with the dishes, or I would like some help with the laundry or something. I know that you're tired. I'm tired too. Let's see how we can do these things together. That way you're asking for what you want. You're more likely to get what you want. And there's less likely to be a negative feeling and resentment because you haven't attacked the other person with criticism. So I want you to remember these key points. Number one, love needs laughter. And if you're not laughing together on a regular basis, then it is a sign that there's problems in the relationship. And the first thing that goes from a happy relationship is laughter. And the next thing that goes is intimacy. So that's important point number one. And in order to eliminate the absence of laughter, or in order to bring back the laughter, then you need to spend quality time together, set a date, and spend quality time together. And then you also need to significantly reduce or eliminate the criticism. I have some assignments that I want you to do for this area. And the first thing that I would like everybody involved here to do is to list all the good qualities of your spouse. Because as I said, oftentimes we get that spirit of criticism because we downplay the good qualities. I want you to be remembering the good qualities that your spouse has. Write a list and keep that list to hand, someplace safe, of all the good qualities of your spouse. And when they annoy you or whatever, remember the list. So that's assignment number one. Assignment number two is to always be courteous to your spouse. Now, the sad reality of the matter is that we are more courteous to other people than we are to our spouse. the spouse gets the least courtesy more often than not, rather than getting the most. If this person is some person that we are bonded to, we're married to, we've said the married vows and so forth, and this person is the most or significant other, why is it then that we can be more courteous to a client, more courteous to a colleague, and way more courteous to a boss or somebody of importance than we are to our own significant other? I'm saying we should be most courteous to our significant other more than anybody else. I believe that. So assignment number 2, practice courtesy with one another. Assignment number 3, as I intimated earlier, instead of criticizing and using you statements, you just never this, you don't do that, you always the next. Instead of using those kind of statements, which are very critical and reduce the happiness and reduce the laughter in the relationship, I want to encourage you to use I statements. I would really appreciate some assistance in this area. I would really feel good if this were to happen. I would like to see more of this. Therefore, you're asking for what you want without attacking the other person with criticism. And the 4th assignment that I have for you is to go on a date each week. As I mentioned before, Genesis 26, verse 8, even Isaac and Rebecca were sporting together, even all the way back then. And I think that you should find some time to go on a date each week. It doesn't have to be long and it doesn't have to be expensive, but just go somewhere, do something, spend an hour together. And I believe that if we put these things into practice, that laughter, we can have the laughter and come back to our marriages, or the laughter remain in our marriages, and the intimacy remain, and the good feeling and good regard towards one another. I hope something that I said has been a source of inspiration and encouragement to you.
Pastor, thank you for the information you gave to us, as well as the assignments you set us. Tiffany, Jude, and Marcus Graves' cousins will play on the violin a rendition for us, Shine, Jesus, Shine. And this is recorded.
Beautiful, beautiful. Pastor Ricardo Selman is the former Family Life Director of the East Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, a position he held for over 12 years, and in pastoral ministry for 25 years. He is a psychotherapist for the past 21 years. He is a certified Prepare Enrich trainer and facilitator. Pastor Selman was also trained at Weimar Institute in California, where he obtained a certificate of training in anxiety and depression recovery, also a certificate of training in
Marriott
molecular
and
brain.
read your mind.
Could you please mute your mics? Thank you very much. He was also trained, he also has a certificate of training in Optimize Your Brain, which focuses on nutrition along with honing skills in nutrition and mental health. He is married to the former Esther Greenwich, a dietitian and health educator and wife of 35 and more years. Most of all, he has been in a loving relationship with Jesus for over 50 years. Like the psalmist David, he has tasted God and testifies he is good. He encourages us to taste him again for the first time. Pastor Selman, thank you for joining us this evening, and I invite you to proceed.
Good night to everybody. I was wondering, Jennifer, where did you get that information from?
You gave that to me.
Good night. Not me. Anyway, thank you so much for the introduction. It's good to see y'all. Y'all looking well.
Thank you.
So much. Praise the Lord.
Yes.
Good night to everybody. Good night, Pastor. Good night. Is good to be part of such a important program. I think it is very creative on the behalf of those who came up with the idea. Well, tonight, my task is to focus mainly on conflict resolution. Excuse me, this is indeed an area for me that I enjoy talking about. So I will have to try and lessen my conversation as much as possible, because there's so much to be said when it comes to conflict resolution. I think it is a critical part of living. And I think that anyone who has had anyone who's married would understand that conflict resolution is critical to the success of a marriage. And conflict is never going to go away. I want to read, before I show you a short video, I want to read something for you from the book of James, and I want to reiterate this point as I go forward. In the book of James, chapter 4, like I said, I'm dealing with conflict resolution, and the video is somehow going to perk up your thinking, maybe in a different way, but I want to focus on conflict resolution. Now, and I'm reading from the New International Version of the Bible. The Bible says this: what causes fights and quarrels among you? So the question is being asked, what causes, fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you. Now I want you to pay attention to that because that is important. It says you want something, but you don't get it. You kill and covet, but you cannot have what you want. You quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God. Now, notice what James is saying. James is saying, if I can paraphrase that for you, James is saying this. James is saying the reason we have conflict is not necessarily because of the other person. In other words, it's not because I don't have conflict because of my wife. My wife don't create the conflict, because the James is saying that conflict begins inside of me. It is inside of me. It starts on the inside. And when I cannot get what I want, then what I do is that I push blame on my wife in this case, or depending on it, but on my wife in this case. So I push blame onto the other person simply because I am not getting what I want. And that is to my mind a very, very deep thought. As you think about the whole idea of conflict resolution, ask yourself the question, and I can go on and on that, but ask yourself the question, when you get into a conflict, what it is you really want? And where did it begin? Did it begin with the other person, or did it begin with me? You see? And so we always have to make sure we do some introspection, self-examination when we reach to the place where conflict is about to begin. All right. So I want to talk a little about that, but I want to give you the scenario. What I'm going to do. What I'm going to do in the scenario is that I'm going to ask the media man to play the first part of the video and pause there, and then we're going to have a discussion. So I want you now, who are out there listening to me, I want for you to give your input on this matter. You can type it in, you can write it in, or you can just, turn on your mic and say something to me. So media man, please go on and run the video. Or woman, I'm not sure which one it is.
It's getting late.
I know.
I'm headed up to bed.
I'll be up soon.
How soon?
I don't know. This place is a mess. I still have dishes to do, and the laundry hasn't been done in over a week, and I still need to make the kids' lunches for school.
You have to do all that yet tonight?
I have to. It's important stuff.
Yeah. Too bad I don't rate on your list of important stuff.
What's that supposed to mean?
Do you know how long it's been since we've,
That's what this is about? Sex? I have all this stuff left to do, and all you can think about is sex?
Actually, that's all I can do. Think about it. It's been so long since we did it. Memory's kind of fading.
That's not fair. I have all this stuff to do, and you want me to drop it and be happy about jumping into bed with you? Are you kidding me?
I guess. Must be kidding myself to think that my wife would actually want to go to bed with me.
Well, maybe I would want to if you didn't treat me like I was your maid. You want me to be cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids? What about what I want?
What do you want? Obviously, I'm clueless.
I want someone to help me. I want somebody that cares about me more than they care about sex.
Good luck with that.
All right. Pause it there for me. Stop the video, please. Thank you so much. All right. That was a rather interesting video. As you could imagine, very, very interesting video. So let me hear and remember the issue of sex is what came up here, but I'm not going to say you can't speak to that, but I want to hear your thoughts mainly though on the issue of conflict resolution fighting fear. All right. Being able to manage conflict rather than allow conflict to seep into the relationship. So let me hear you quickly. You can go on and type something instead of there. You don't have all day, you don't have all night. Let's do this rather quickly. Go on and say something for me. What do you think before I give my thoughts on it? What do you think? Anybody?
Hi, Pastor. I think that this is Andrea.
Hey, Andrea. Hey, how are you?
Okay. I think that with the conflict, number one, she's folding and he's looking at her, asking her a question about how long she's gonna be, but he's not actually saying, you're folding the clothes, you want me to help you, and then we can get it accomplished quicker, or if you have the dishes to do, I'll do the dishes while you finish that up. At the same time, maybe I can help you with
Angela, let me ask you this. Angela, let me ask you this.
question.
Let me ask you this. I want you to be short. I want you to be short. Try to cut you because I want you to be short.
No problem.
Let me ask you this. Why couldn't she have suggested to him to help her out?
Well, she could have, but maybe she did before and he didn't. Because he said something like good help with that.
Don't go over what you think. No. Don't go over what you think she would have done. I am dealing strictly with what you've seen, no speculation under that. I am why couldn't she have just said, hey, look, why don't you help me out here? Help me out here. We can go farther here. All right. I think Andrea, thanks. Good idea. Let me hear Cozier. Make it quick, make it fast.
Why couldn't he have just seen the need to help?
Well, hey, he could have done that too. He could have done that too, because I could ask the question, why didn't he, be smart? But the man said, don't forget what he said. He said he's clueless. And so he's actually saying, I ain't even know what I can do to help you, really.
But really?
But this is what I would think, right? This is what I would think. Huh? Let me hear the I feel somebody from the I feels right quick. Give it to me quick, please.
I good night, everybody.
Hey, Romel.
What I got it from the short video. One of the things, Robert, I believe that the way that she responded to him suggests that maybe she is frustrated with all this stuff to do, and the fact that she has no help. I think it suggests it could be something that's ongoing. And she finally had enough of it when he, broached the topic on sex, as in that's all you could think about when they got all this stuff to do. So I think communication would be a part of it, or lack thereof, because if she has not said that before, then she can't expect him to read his mind. Hence, he's clueless.
All right. Well, one of the things, unless there's somebody else there right quick, I want to say something right quick.
Yes, I am here, Pastor.
Yes, Joan.
I'm thinking that sometimes women are not good at saying to men, well, I need this, I need help in this area or that area. We sometimes expect the men to look through our brains and see what is happening there. So that's my short point.
And you notice, thank you. You notice that one thing that happened there is that the man said, notice what the man said, based on what he said, this is not something that just happened. This couple apparently has not been sexually active for a long time, because the man he had faith in memory. In other words, it's been such a long time. Yeah. And so think of it this way, that the fact that, he's flooded, he is no longer thinking rational. He's no longer thinking rational. Let me run this here by you quickly, that when anytime you have in a relationship where needs are not being met, you're going to create an environment for conflict. Any relationship where needs are not being met, you're going to create an environment of conflict. It's going to be difficult, because in people get married to take care of each other's needs. That's just the reality of it. Yeah, I love you. Yeah, I love you. Oh, I love you. People get married to take care of needs. And by the way, what is the greatest need of a man, just in case? Hello? What's the greatest need of man? Somebody tell me right quick. And you can, some who can get to say it can type it in. Sex is the greatest need of a man. All right. All right. What is the greatest need of a woman?
Affection.
All right. So if the greatest need of a man is sex and the greatest need of a woman is affection, then how are you going to deal with that? How are you going to deal with that?
But Pastor, I thought the greatest need of a man was respect.
Well, you can work with that too, but let's say I ain't got time to get all these degrees because I ain't gonna have time to explain all this stuff. But I'm saying to you, if it is in fact that the greatest need of a man is sex, and that is generally what it is, and the greatest need of a woman is affection, yeah, then how are you going to balance those two things? Now, this first dramatization is a classic case of what exists in most homes. Let's be honest with ourselves. The man do his own thing, but when it is time for sex, he expects the woman to drop all what she is doing and take care of his needs. Because I've been told, and I listen, I've been hearing it long enough to hear it being said, over and over again, that it is difficult for a man to show affection. So we have a problem if you want to bring it to the point of sex. But this is not only about sex. This is about things in general. Things in general. I don't want to broaden it out too much because time is short. So the woman gets caught up in managing the chores and the children, you know. Those chores can increase as time goes on. Those chores can increase. Because what happened is that if she's not getting help, more things are going to need to be done, right? So couples married to have needs, but if a need is not being satisfied, the problem that you're going to create is conflict. One partner can be trying to fulfill the needs of self, not even knowing what the other partner wants. And this was a classic case here. This man did not know what this woman wants. All he knew was what he wants. That's all he knew, what he wants. And so he said he's going up to bed. All he expected to hear from her is what? Okay, I'm coming. But the woman said, nah, I'll be up in a while. But based on what she said, she wasn't getting there in a while. By the time she get there, it'll be morning. So that the first scenario shows how is not to be done. How is not to be done. And so I want to show you the second part of it, and then I'll come back. See, let me say that conflict is important, however, because it gives an opportunity for couples to air or to express how they feel about something. That is what it is. So there's nothing wrong with conflict. Is how you manage the conflict. Conflict says something is not right in the relationship, and we need to talk about it. So listen, let me get media man, media lady, media person. Play the other. Or there's somebody has a hand up there. Bernadette, go on, sit quick, please.
Pastor Selman, I was thinking, could it be a case that he knew that she needed help and he just don't care?
It could be that too. It could be that.
And he's so focused on the fact that they may have sex for a while that he's so focused on having his needs satisfied that he's ignoring her needs.
You can't be mad at the man if he wants sex, he wants sex. But the thing is that what he's not doing though is that he's not taking into account how she feels.
Exactly.
And that is exactly where the problem is, because I mean, he could have given thought, but the man said he was clueless. He was clueless. Let's look at the other one here now, and you tell me what you think about it. Next one.
Have you ever had one of those conversations where you
know,
really
I don't need
wish
that
you
part
could
of
have a
it.
do-over?
Just fast forward that part. I don't. Yeah, just fast forward and go right to the thing. Next one. So we're rewinding now, and we're taking another shot at it.
It's getting late.
I
He
know.
looks up at the time.
I'm headed up to bed.
I'll be up soon.
How soon?
I don't know. I still have to do the dishes, and laundry hasn't been done in over a week, and I still have to make lunches for the kids tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a lot to do. Could you use some help?
Yeah, honey, that would be great.
Why don't you start on the lunches, and I'll do the laundry.
Thanks. I'm really sorry about being so tired lately.
I'm tired too. But I still miss.
Yeah, me too.
Well, what do you want to do about it?
How quick can you do the laundry?
How quick can you make sandwiches?
Pretty quick.
All right, stop the video for me, please. Thank you so much. Now, get your thoughts on that now. Your thoughts, please. Give me the thoughts. Kosir, is that your hand?
Yeah, that's a lot better now, Pastor. I mean, he senses the need, then is assistance with her. Offering assistance, she smiles, and she's ready to make those sandwiches in a flash. He will do the laundry in a flash, and so they will get to bed in a flash and do all that they got to do in a flash.
And no, you can't get to bed and do it when you're doing a flash, though. You got to slow that process down.
But I know.
Sorry, Sister Kosir. Sorry, that was mean of me. Bernadette, come through, please.
A happy wife is a happy husband.
I looking
Look
at
at
the
that.
fact that how he approached her after she said, about needing help and what's not, and she acknowledged the fact that they haven't had, intimacy for a bit, and she recognized, that, and she take his feelings into consideration, and he takes her feelings into consideration.
So in other words, as if you had watched some of what Tucker had mentioned, and some of y'all would remember Tucker had brought him here some time ago, and you would have seen that because I think he had also shown that video at the program we have. But anyway, here's the thing: what Tucker said, what Tucker tries to bring out in his evaluation of the video, both he and his wife, in the evaluation of the video, is that it is important for couples to value each other. It's important for couples to care about each other. It is important and I'm widening it up now. It is important for couples to for a husband and a wife to make each other a priority in their lives. In other words, if I make my wife a priority, if she makes me a priority, then we don't have problems with certain things, you see. It reduces the amount of conflict in the relationship because I am thinking about her and she is thinking about me. There's mutuality, there's reciprocity. We are thinking about each other, and because we're thinking about each other, what becomes important to her becomes important to me, and vice versa. And so I am not going to sit down and watch my wife take all those clothes and fold them up and then have to go and make breakfast for the children. So no. I am going to reach out now and make sure that I help her with this and help her with that and help her with the next. If she comes home from work tired, or if I come home from work tired, I said, sit down, I'll take care of everything. Just relax yourself, put your foot up. And it's because you're looking up and you're paying attention to each other. That was important. Your thoughts, y'all. Your thoughts. Make them quick.
Very important, Pastor Selman, agreed.
Mm-hmm. No, I noticed. I know. Go ahead. Somebody else was saying something.
Are men really clueless? Is it how they are trained in the home by the female that makes them think that the women's responsibility is such and such and such and such, and so that's what caused the cluelessness? Just curious.
I don't. You asking for a friend? Angela, you asking for a friend? Look, I don't know if to say men are clueless. I think in a lot of ways there's a thinking among men that the housework is for the ladies and the outside work is for men. And that may be true in some ways, but there are times when it's okay to help out with the outside work and it's okay to help with the inside work. See, so that couples have to work together. The key is to work together. I just haven't heard your voice for a while. Let me hear you.
Good night.
Good night, dear.
I disagree with that statement.
Which one is that?
That housework is for the wife. Let me tell you something.
No, I say that some men believe that, and you can take it to the bank.
But listen, they need to get rid of that belief, because housework is every day. You will have to prioritize your life and make sure that you don't get wrapped up in this housework, because you would be every morning when you get up, you would be doing housework. The days are gone. Listen. Gone are the days, right? When the saying was like, oh, the work outside for the man, and the woman and the house and the work outside for the man. Them days done with. Housework is a lot of work. People don't pay. People don't clean the yard. No, they get their lawn cut. They get their house.
I said, bring it in. Not only that, we have people have maids too. You know.
Listen, don't start me.
Hold on, Pastor. This is Louis, Andrea's husband. Listen, this is Louis, Andrea's husband.
Make it quick.
We men who are raised by old school parents do believe that the housework is for the women, because that's how we were raised. The boys were to do one thing, the women were to do one thing. Now here's an interesting thing. My wife was raised in that manner as well, and she still lives that way as well. So the days of what the lady saying, those days are gone. No, they still exist. The question is, are parents teaching their children to do these things?
All right, thank you. All right, so here's what is let me make some remarks and then close up before they tell me I need to stop. Because like I said, I can go on. Maybe I need to do a little series on this for a little while, but maybe I need to go on. So hear this. You see, we are talking about sharing of chores and sharing of workload, because we live in an environment now where both men and women work, right? We live, both go out and work for the most part, all right? And so because that is the case, it means that when both come in, they must both share in the workload. As it relates specifically to sex, it is very important that we understand that sex for a woman is deeper than just a penis in a vagina. For a woman, sex is a culmination of how you have treated me during the day, or how you have treated me yesterday or wherever. And so we have to keep that in mind. So even though for sex for a man is different from sex for a woman, always keep that in mind. And so a woman has to be ready emotionally, psychologically, physically, in order to give herself. But if she is not getting help and blah, 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 then it's going to be difficult for her to give herself to a man with sex, because it's deeper than just sex. Yeah, it's deeper than just that for a woman. No, I'm not saying it is not deeper for a man as well. I wouldn't go so far as to say that. All I'm saying is that it is much easier for a man to want to jump in a bed than it is for a woman. All right. So here, and there's nothing wrong as what the writer of the book, whoever he is or she, Sex Begins in the Kitchen, suggests that it is good for a man to put on an apron at time and just go and help out. And that does something for a woman. It says to her that you care. All right. And that's along the issue of sex. But outside of the matter of sex, it is important that we understand that showing caring and giving priority and respect and so on is critical for both sides. So that so in the second generalization, the solution or the approach, okay, let me bring this in now. to manage the conflict is demonstrated by helping out with the chores. And if we were on the side of money, we will have a conversation how we manage them. But chores, how it is there, so that the work is done so that both of them can have their needs met. So you have both of them working, helping out each other. That shows caring, that shows priority, so needs are being taken care of. So it reduces the possibility of conflict. However, let me say that it is not always that simple. The wife could have said, and you know, ladies, let's be honest, the wife could have said, you are only helping me because you want something, sex. You know that, ladies, especially when you weren't getting help all along. So it's very important to be helping all along, right? We can help all. So what is significant is for both to show interest in and show interest and value in the other person, that I am not a sex object. I am that I want to know I'm special to you. That is what makes a difference. When your partner feels or he or she is a priority in your life, it will make a difference. A good marital relationship is based on being positive and on pleasing the other person, showing how sensitive you are and how you are able to tune in to what the other person is going through or what the other person is feeling. You're looking to see what your partner wants, and you will be surprised to know that what you think your partner wants is different from what you think your partner wanted. Let me finish this in by saying this here, that when it comes to conflict resolution, and oftentimes this is missed in conflict resolution. What is often missed is that when it comes to conflict resolution, the first thing you have to do is settle the conflict within yourself first. Having settled it within yourself first, now you are prepared to go and settle it with the other person. But oftentimes what happens is that we still come with the fire in our eyes. We still come burning ready for blood and expect to go and resolve a conflict. It don't work like that. Settle it in yourself first, and having done that, you will discover it becomes easier to settle it with the other person. And you do not try to focus on what you want when it comes to settling a conflict. It's always important to try to find out what it is the other person wants and deal with that. May God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Selman. As someone was suggesting, they have to bring you back again, continue a series. So keep that in mind. Pastor Victor Marshall is a former primary school teacher and former prayer ministries coordinator for the North England Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. He holds master's degrees in health psychology, practical theology, pastoral theology, and special needs education with educational psychology. He employs these disciplines to bring a therapeutic approach to ministry, which has intercessory prayer as the foundation. He has set up a health and wellness clinic in 3 of his former districts to address mental health needs emerging from COVID-19. He has also designed and set up a 12-week emotional health restoration program aimed at assisting emotionally and spiritually unwell congregations, groups, and individuals in experiencing emotional wellness. Pastor Marshall has also written various books, 2 of which are on intercessory prayer and 4 on emotional health. Furthermore, he has also produced a prayer manual resource guide, Standing in the Gap, Ministering Through the Power of Intercessory Prayer. Presently, he is the Family Life and Men's Ministries Director for the East Caribbean Conference. Pastor Marshall seeks to minister through the power of prayer. Pastor Marshall, it is good to have you here with us this evening. So we invite you now to bring your presentation.
Good night, everybody, and thank you very much, Peter and Jennifer. Thank you for the opportunity to be here for zones 1 and 2. I know we have some of zones 3 on the program, but specifically this was set up for zone 1 and 2. We'll have zone 3 in July, and then zones 4 and 5 in October. But nevertheless, we are happy that those who are willing to join us would join us. I've been asked to look at something that I could have learned from in adulthood that will carry into marriage. One of the things I've discovered is that, especially in ministry, I heard somebody saying a few months ago, the wife said, are you not going to leave anything for me to do? It appears that you don't need me because you're doing everything yourself. And that struck a chord with me as I reflected, and then I reflected on what I did, let's say 13 years prior to coming home. I discovered that I was independent of my wife in ministry. Not that she was not involved in ministry, she was involved in her own ministry. When it came to pastoral ministry that I was engaged in, I recognized that I was independent. And what that means is that I would go to church, I would offload the car, load back the car with stuff, if I'm doing communion, and if I had to carry communion stuff to churches, I would carry it rather than getting her to help me with it or ask her to assist me in carrying these things, even though that she was with me. Even to the point being at home, if I came home late after 9 o'clock, I didn't eat solid food. I would probably have a cup of milk. And once or twice, she would be there waiting. And when I came in, she would ask if I wanted anything to drink. I felt that if she knew that I would have something to drink, and I felt that she should have done it before I came, or on the verge of me coming, because she knows that I am coming home at that particular time. And so when I got home, I would just put my bags in the study, and I would beam straight to the kitchen. I would say, it's okay, I'll do it myself. And I would beam straight to the kitchen, and I would warm some milk, get some biscuits, and I would come back to the table and sit and eat, and then thaw out a bit, and then go upstairs. And I found that, as I was reflecting on what the husband said in relation to his wife, I reflected and I recognized I was very independent, or too independent. Another case in point is I'm getting ready for work. I might be a bit late, and the wife might be in the kitchen, not kitchen, the bedroom, or perhaps in the living room. And I would have put my clothes on the ironing board because that's what I'm going to wear. And I would have plugged in the iron. I felt that because I've done all of that, she should have at least helped me iron the clothes. By the time I come out of the bathroom, she's asking me, do you want me to iron the clothes? And I would say, no, I'll do it myself. And so that's what I meant by I found myself being independent, not including her in ministry. She never said anything, but on reflecting, I felt I believe she felt isolated, not being a part of my ministry. And so I recognized quickly, well, not quickly, I recognized that marriage, if you want to be independent, don't get married. marriage is not about independence, it's interdependent. And you can't be dependent on your spouse. You have to be interdependent. You need him, and he needs you, and she needs you. You need her, and that comes squarely from Genesis chapter 2, verse 18 and 20. God said, "It's not good that man should be alone. He will make him a help meet." When I looked at all the words that could be used for help me that is help that is suitable, helper, one who balances him or complements, one who is a counterpart, suitable, just right, who is his opposite, helper, suitable, a companion, well matched, a person of strength, power, and authority, corresponding to Genesis chapter 2, verse 18 and 20. And so it's important that as spouses, we understand that we should not be independent. The moment we want to be independent, we should not get married, or we should not get married if we want to be independent. And so I'm just sharing that, and I'm reflecting, and I'm recognizing, because it can isolate, it can make you feel as if you're not wanted, you're not needed in this relationship. There's no space, no room for you in the relationship. What am I doing here? What's my purpose? What's my use? Am I not needed? Am I not important? And so those are the things that I've recognized based on 13 years of ministry when I was in the United Kingdom. And I just want to share that with you in relation to one of those failures, weaknesses that I've been practicing, not understanding that I would have been pushing my spouse away by not including her, or not making her feel that I need her. And yes, we do need our spouses, and we have to show them, demonstrate to them that we need them by inviting them into our space, asking them to help, and encouraging them to help, and bringing them in and asking their advice, and getting ideas from them. So yeah, you might have ideas, but you want to include and involve them. So you know the answer, but you ask the question still. You ask for ideas, you ask for advice, so that they can feel part and parcel of your life, part and parcel of that mission you're on, part and parcel of that ministry you're involved in, part and parcel of the decision making that you are about to embark on. And so I wanted to share that with you. I believe that you may want to ask many questions or make comments, but that's the major thing I wanted to share as I have been asked. Jennifer?
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions you have for Pastor Marshall? Any comments? No, he was dealing with learning from our faults, our failures, the challenges. And I'm sure that all of us have challenges. And he gave us his experience, and he gave us a solution also. So we need to listen and try to understand when we see these things happening. We learn when persons are speaking, we listen and we learn from what they're saying. So thank you very much, Pastor Marshall.
Yeah, I have a question.
You're welcome.
Yes, go ahead.
I have a question for the dear pastor. Now, I listening carefully, I am getting the impression that he was already a trained person when he had these kind of experiences. If that is so, what it clearly shows is that even with your level of training, your expertise, your knowledge, son, is difficult to transform or transmit that into your own life in a practical way as it relates to even to your home. And what you have put on the table tonight, Pastor, is very, very profound indeed. It shows that, to me, it showed me that you can get the greatest amount of training and build up the greatest amount of expertise and things. If you're not a practical person, if you can't come down to the point where you can put these same things that you've learned, these concepts into practice, then you're going to be found wanting. You can comment.
I'm not sure I'm getting you. But yes, I'm trained as a pastor. I'm trained in various areas. I'm trained as a teacher. But I'm not getting what you're. So you got to rewind again, if you don't mind.
All I'm saying with all of that, Pastor, if all that training, and it is not that practical realm, that practicality is in your home, then your marriage can still have its problems. As much training as you have and skills in certain very important areas of life, including home and marriage and so on. Even you being a practitioner, if you now cannot be your own teacher, cannot be that your own use that knowledge in a practical way in your home, you can still be found wanting. That's what that point I'm making. I've gathered that from what you said.
Okay, okay, I understand you now, and so that's true. We have to be, as you said, be practical. We have to demonstrate that yes, on the one hand, I am a professional, but at the end of the day, we are two people. We are people at the end of the day. We have to come down to earth. We have to leave the professionalism, the professional job, and meet the rubber and talk to each other and involve each other in what's going on. And sometimes, and what we were trained, we were taught when we are at home, we're not the pastor. We are the husband and the father.
Exactly, Pastor. I was going to say that your wife does not want to pastor at home. She wants her husband.
And so we have to understand that quickly, because sometimes it comes through. You want to make a decision and you want to make an executive decision because oftentimes you find yourself carrying that hat. That hat is okay. You carry a lot of hats as a pastor. You carry a lot of hats, but oftentimes the pastor's hat is at the top, and all the others are at the bottom of that hat. And you've got to be able to know when to take off the pastoral hat and put it aside and wear the daddy's hat and the husband's hat and the gardener's hat at home, and the cook's hat at home, because those are important. The pastor's hat is worn at church or in the community. In the community, even in the community, even though you're going to the supermarket, folks see you, Pastor Marshall, and yes, that's true. But I'm going to shop, so I don't need to put on no tie and so on. All right, but you have to divide. You have to know which hat to wear and when to wear. So yes, Euclid, that's true.
Okay, I'm seeing a hand, the Eiffels. Do you have a question for the pastor?
Just a comment, really. Listening to Pastor Marshall, it kind of reminded me, in some sense, of myself. I guess it comes from when you are accustomed, maybe working alone. You find ways to improvise. You find ways to get things done. You plan what you have to do strategically so you can execute everything that is needed. But when it comes down to home life and as the scenario that he would have shared, maybe preparing to leave home for a meeting or for work or whatever, it's easy to get carried away in yourself and what you are about. But I find that taking the time to involve your spouse in the planning and even in simple things like prepping to leave home. You may have to leave, but she may not. It helps doing those things together for each other and knowing that, having her understand that you need her, this is where you need her, and even asking her hey babe, can you do this for me while I'm in the shower, whatever the case may be. It helps also to build emotional intimacy and that dependence upon each other, so that the other person feels, hey, well, I'm glad that it's not something really important, but I'm still glad that he has a need for me, or that she values me for this, or etc. etc.
And what you're saying that Brother Romel, it also escalates into finances. I have my bank account, you have your bank account, it's my money, your money's. I spend my money how I feel like, you spend your money how you feel like, and the two never come together, never meet together in the center. I try to advocate a central account, because at the end of the day, you're a husband and wife, and if you go down the road of independence, then you're creating a lot more problems in terms of finances. You're not going to achieve goals that you want to achieve as a couple, because you guys are two independent individuals financially and so on. And so this whole issue of independence creates a lot of problems. And so that's why I'm sharing that with you, so that you can recognize, hey, we need to be interdependent. That's the concept that we need to be pushing as husband and wives, so that we recognize, hey, we need each other. That's why God has put us together. Otherwise, he would have left Adam alone, because Adam didn't need the help that is suitable for him. And so I trust that we could pick up on that and practice that.
Okay, thank you very much, Pastor Marshall. We're coming quickly to close.
Before you go on, Sister
Yes,
Jennifer, I just want to acknowledge Dr. Delman Worrell, who is the chair. He's part of the advisory committee, the Family Life Advisory Committee. He's the chair for the marriage and couples programs. Dr. Worrell has been spearheading this since last year. Because I'm managing different elements of the family life, I have chairs for different facets of the programs. And so I want to acknowledge him publicly for managing this on the Family Life Department's behalf. Dr. Desmond, thank you very much for putting the program together with the team that was set up. And we trust that you will continue to work assiduously to help our couples. Thank you again.
okay. Next, we're going to go to our last interview. And this interview will be done by Brother Eric and Michelle Smith. Now, Brother Eric Smith, he's currently the elder and deacon and shares family life leadership with his wife, Michelle, in the Black Rock Seventh-day Adventist Church. Now, he is a whiz with numbers. He is an accountant by profession. Eric loves athletics and by God's grace pursues and promotes a healthy lifestyle. He is a passionate provider for and protector of his family, a passion that also extends to the homeless and unfortunate. Michelle, on the other hand, is not a whiz with numbers, but very interested in young people's education, development, and success academically and spiritually. She is a teacher of management courses by profession, and she also pursues a healthy lifestyle. Now, Eric and Michelle have been married for 39 and 3/4 years. I note that 3/4 years. And it will come to 40 years on July the 3rd. They have 3 adult sons, 2 grandsons, 2 granddaughters, and credit God for bringing them where they are today in their marriage and life in general. Now, Eric and Michelle, we want to welcome you on the program this evening. How are you doing? You're muted. We can't hear you.
Apologies. We're fine, thank you. Can you hear us well now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes. So welcome to the program. And I know it's getting late, so let me dive right in and ask you, how did you meet? How did you meet?
Well, I had to pick up Michelle from school. My boss asked me to pick up his daughter from at school one day. I went and picked her up. And then it was only about 3 years after that time, that I then meet her when she came and worked where I was working. And the relationship from there on started to develop.
But let me add that I was placed in his team and he was my supervisor. So we were working very closely at that time. Yeah.
Okay. Now I know you're working together. So, and then when did you decide to get married and what influenced that?
Well, the fact is that Eric was not Seventh Adventist at the time, but I had invited him to a crusade, and at that crusade, he got baptized. Well, he will say quite plainly and boldly and clearly he did not get baptized because of me, because he already had a conviction before. And after that, then I would invite him to our family worship sessions Friday evening and so on, because his family was not Adventist. And out of that, the relationship grew. We dated for about a year.
Got married about a year. 6 months after.
Yeah, but we dated for about 18 months, and then we got married. Yeah.
Okay. So, what was the most challenging adjustment you had to make when you got married and building your marriage?
The adjustment was basically having to understand each other's personalities and how to deal with them, how to deal with it. Getting to know her and how to deal with her personality.
Let me say, people who know us, we are totally opposite, completely opposite. I talk enough, you don't talk enough. You don't talk about something. Okay. I was raised in a household with very rambunctious, sociable, friendly, outgoing people. A God-fearing Seventh-day Adventist mother and a non-Adventist, very charming, charismatic father. Okay, and so our lifestyles were totally different. I grew up in a situation with 3 brothers and a male cousin. My sister's a lot younger than I am. And my parents taught us, you fall down, okay, brush off, get it and go again. And so I grew up being a very independent person. We come back to this independence again. Whereas Eric is a very caring and nurturing person. So how do we blend this together? Independent person who's accustomed doing everything for herself, and then this caring, nurturing person who wants to do stuff, but doesn't know how to do it, not quite getting it right, but still trying. Generally speaking, I don't like to give the impression that our marriage was perfect. It feels perfect now, but it definitely wasn't perfect then. We made a lot of bad decisions and bad choices. We almost killed the marriage. We almost got divorced because we loved each other, but we just did not know how to love each other. Let me put it that way. But we did not want our children to grow up in a broken home. We did not want to go against God's plan for husbands and wives and plan for family. So I took the initiative and got a counselor, and we attended the counseling. And it's interesting because we just went to about 2 sessions to that counselor, and it was like a light bulb went on in your heads. It's like, oh, this is what we were doing wrong, and this is what we need to do. So after those 2 sessions, we, with God's help and a lot of prayer, of course, we were able then to figure out what we needed to do and how to do it and what we were doing wrong. And as they say, the rest is history. Not that the road was easy and rosy all of, after that, but at least we knew now, okay, this is what we're dealing with and this is what we need to do. And we had to work at that going through.
Okay, good. So you've given us some information as to what to do when there are challenges. You got a counselor and you worked it out. That is very good. You had your challenges. Now it comes to the fun time. Tell us some of the fun things that you do together.
We travel, well, at least I sync my vacation with hers. So that we would have vacation together and we would travel and just enjoy vacation, just the two of us, and do our stuff. We jog and play racquetball or anything else. Sometimes we would play Scrabble or any other board games. And of course, it's only once I beat her in Scrabble. And that would be the time that the first boy told her, if I beat her in Scrabble tonight, Emil will born. Because he was late. And so said, so done. But I'm not able to beat her, but I will still try. Enjoy that. And other things, going out, entertainment, and we just find things to do together. Okay. And we enjoy it.
Good, good. Now I know you dealt with your challenge. What advice would you give couples when they have other challenges? Because you dealt with yours. So what advice would you give to couples?
Well, at the risk of sounding cliche, I would say you have got to pray for your partner. You've got to pray for your marriage. I think that sometimes we think that prayer is for crusades and when people lose their jobs or when somebody is sick or something like that. But we need to pray for our marriages, and God answers prayer. He hears and he answers prayer. We are testimonies to that. Another thing too, whatever I may say here may have worked for me or may have worked for one people, but one size doesn't fit all. Everybody has to find out what works for them. We need to talk to each other and listen to each other. As I said, Eric, he's not a quiet person, because he's thought enough and he's ready, but he's not as outspoken as I am. But he is outspoken with me, or if he's passionate about anything, he will speak up. We didn't have that communication before. Okay, we didn't have that communication before. But now we have learned to listen to, talk with, and talk to each other. We have learned to say when we like something or don't like something. And what we need to understand is, if I say I don't like macaroni pie, I don't like macaroni pie. Don't try to tell me why I don't like macaroni pie. If I don't like it, you may love it, and that's fine, but it doesn't work for me. So don't try to, don't try to tell me that I don't mean what I say. We need to listen to what our partners are saying. At the risk of being, what should I say? At the risk of being, of the man's ire, the man getting annoyed, I find, and this is from talking to other females and some men too, I find that males seem to have a problem with counseling. They seem to think, oh, that's for the women, that's not for me. They seem to think, well, if we go to counseling, it means that something is wrong with my relationship with God. That is not so. The same way how if you're not feeling well, you go to the doctor, you don't know what is wrong. You go to the doctor to find out what is wrong so you can get the medication. If your marriage is not well, then you need to get a professional to help you with that marriage. The counselor that we went to, and I'm not putting down anybody here, was not an Adventist counselor, but he was a Christian counselor, and he worked well for us. But of course we have our pastors now, because at that time there weren't that many around anyway that were qualified. But we have our pastors now that are qualified. So you choose what works for you. But both the husband and the wife need to see the value, because if you cannot work it out, then sometimes you need a qualified person to help you to understand what's happening and help you to come to some agreement and help you to give you those tools to be able to work your way through. Sometimes, again, people think because, oh, I am the elder, or I am the women's ministries leader, or I give Bible studies, or I do open airs, or whatever, that all is well between me and my spouse. That is not true. That is a spiritual aspect. Jesus, the Bible tells us, Luke 2:52, I think it is, Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man, intellectually, spiritually, socially, and physically. And all of that is important in the marriage as well, not just the spiritual. If the spiritual is only the spiritual is well and the rest is lacking, then you ain't going nowhere. You're not going anywhere. I would also say, do not have in mind going to the marriage with the thinking that the first thing this person does that I don't like, I get a divorce. We must not have that kind of thinking. We must go in with the intention that I am in here, God is in here with me, and God is going to help me through. So I always advise, unless it's a case of serious abuse, and there are different types of abuse, unless it's a case of serious abuse, try to work through your challenges. Again, you may need professional help with that, but try to work through your challenges. We were able to work through ours. We did not solve our issues very early in our marriage. And then when kids come along to you, get all caught up with that. And sometimes you forget the marriage. You become parents and forget the marriage. And that's another thing you have to be careful of as well. But we were able, by God's grace, to work them out in later years. And now one of the best things that has come out of it is that he is my friend. He's my best friend.
Very good, good. Okay, we want to thank you for sharing with us, and you shared openly. And you know, the information that we've received, you gave us information that maybe somebody can rebuild their marriage, or for sure they can improve and keep the marriage relationship going. Thank you, and I pray that God would continue to bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
We now invite Dr. Desmond Ward to give us resources for couples.
Hey, good night, everybody.
Good night.
So glad that I see so many people on here tonight to share in our seminar. This is going to be the last thing that we will do. If I could get Courtney to pull that slide up for us, and then we can, okay, so I'm just going to do something really short and quick, and that is to share some of the resources that I have come across and have in my library. This right here is a very interesting book. It says questions for couples. 469 thought-provoking conversation starters for connecting, building trust, and rekindling intimacy. So I just opened the book, and I'm going to read you 2 questions. One says, how can we make our relationship affair-proof? Is that a question you've ever asked your spouse? But that's an intentional question. And that's in this book. And then there's another question here. How can we communicate better? So those are only 2 of the 469 thought-provoking questions that you will find in this first book. Next page, next. Next one, Courtney. Thank you. Great. All right. So here's another one. Duets. By the way, that first book is written by a husband and wife team, Marcus and Ashley Kusi. This second one is also written by a husband and wife team, John and Anita Renford. And what they have sought to do is they have looked at couples in the Bible from Genesis right through And they look at ways in which these couples in the Bible were able to share with us some very specific lessons. So it says here, if you've been married for any length of time, you know it can be tough to keep the music playing in your marriage with all the other songs vying for your attention and droning out the rhythms that first drew you together. Guess what? You're not alone. Times have changed since Adam and Eve were in paradise, but marriage issues have remained the same. So there are 52 couples, 52 sessions. You can do one a week. That's because there are 52 weeks in a year. All right, let's go to the other one. It's an old book. I grew up with this book in my parents' shelf. It says Happiness for Husbands and Wives. And this book was actually written in 1969, if I look at the cover, the inside cover here. And it's called Happiness for Husbands and Wives. And if you are an Adventist for a very long time, or any length of time, you might have come across this book. But it is chock full of very, very helpful and useful information. Everything from choosing your life partner through to dealing with your moods and tempers as a married person, and how to harness that so that it is productive for your relationship, to money issues and children issues. And then the last thing I will share is that site that Pastor Selman took us that video from, Mad About Marriage. If you go on that, there are tons of videos on there of couples talking about their relationships. And so one of the one that Pastor Selman shared with us came from this site. So I just thought that sometimes, you know, we have resources that we are using in our homes and in our relationships, but somebody else might be able to benefit from them. So hopefully that has helped someone tonight, and I bid you adieu and God bless, and thank you so much for coming on tonight to share with us and making our seminar here a success.
Thank you very much, Dr. Worrell. Sister Carolyn Boyce, could you please come on and give us your information? Okay, I am not sure if Sister Carolyn is here, but our closing song will be the wedding song, To Have and to Hold.
This very moment right here and now begins the journey of my dreams on to forever, hand in hand with the one who matters most to me. I have tomorrow to look forward to, for God has given me you to have and to hold, to cherish and honor, to love and call my my very own, to share all I am with, body, heart, and soul. You are mine, as I am yours, to have and to hold.
Partner, companion, lover, and friend, keeper of all things I hold dear. I see you before me, and my heart is filled with joy for everything that has brought me here. And I have tomorrow to look forward to, for God has given me you to have and to hold,
to cherish and honor, to love and call my very own, to share all I am with, body, heart, and soul. You are mine, as I am yours, to have and to I have tomorrow to look forward to,
for God has given me you.
He's given me you
to have and
to hold, to cherish and honor, to love and call my very own, to share all I am with, body, heart, and soul. You are mine, as I am yours, all my days, all my life, to have and to hold, to have and to hold,
to have and to hold.
Let us bow our heads. Let us bow our heads for prayer. Gracious God and Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Father, we thank you for your presence with us. We pray, Father, and thank you for the blessings we've received. We come to join in your presence throughout this service, which led us to understand the things that we can have protected and growth, protection and growth in our marriage. We thank you for the information we received. We thank you for the interaction that we've received. We pray now that your Holy Spirit continue to be with us, and may he give us your peace as he keeps us. Is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Well, after such a wonderful session, we want to give God all the glory and praise. We wish to express our thanks to Elder Richard Howell for his prayer, to Myra Norville, Tiffany, Jude, and Marcus Graves for their musical renditions, the couples, Brother Alliston and Sister Dorian Seal, and Elder Eric and Sister Michelle Smith for sharing with us a bit of their marriage experience. Pastors Lindo, Selman, and Marshall for helping us to reset our marriage relationship button. Elder Desmond Worrell, the Family Life Planning Committee of Zones 1 and 3 for planning and executing this wonderful program. We also wish to thank our hosts, Sister Courtney and Sister Fabayo, for facilitating the Zoom and YouTube link, and the pastor and the board of the Mile and a Quarter Seventh-day Adventist Church for allowing us to use their YouTube and Zoom link. Thank you for your participation. And it is our hope that this seminar was very useful in providing practical ways to enhance your marital relations. I thank you.
Thank you too for sharing the time with us.
Good night and God bless. And we hope that you have a spirit-filled week.
Have a good night, everyone.
We have been called to follow Christ. We are to preach, we are to teach, we are to fight. So where you lead me, I will go. Touch my lips, by your strength I will go. I will go where you lead me, I will go. Where you lead me, who will go? For us I will go. I will go where you lead me, I will go. Where you lead me, here am I. Send me, Lord, I will go. Because my eyes have seen the King, I must tell all the world, worship Him. In all the nations, in all